This is unfortunately not too uncommon for a lot of realtors and homeowners who are in the process of buying or selling their homes. Um, when it comes to repairs of the foundations, a lot of banks and lenders look at these issues as huge risk, and they may have assessors or underwriters looking at the foundation issues that are called out. And they might be very simple. They might be just a simple foundation crack. They could be huge structural issues, but they kind of just categorize them all into one major bucket as risk. And so when they see this risk, they look for a laundry list of things to basically affirm that the investment that they are on taking the loan isn't a bad investment. And so when it comes to some of these issues, we get pulled in the 11th hour and 58th minute because a deal is going to fall apart because certain items haven't been satisfied, and the lawyers are now involved for this issue. So we have a case example for a house in Clinton, Massachusetts, where it was on the sales process, and far into there, the P&S was signed, home inspections went through, the bank had gone through, they were supposed to close the next day. And the lawyers were looking through all the information, and come to find out there was an unsatisfied condition in the paperwork, and that related specifically to a foundation crack. And this foundation crack was one we see every day. Nothing special about it. It was a vertical crack. It was something that was probably a 1/4 inch wide, maybe even less. There was signs of sun moisture there, but it wasn't actively leaking on any inspection. And it was made into a huge deal. And probably not rightfully so, because it was a pretty straightforward type of foundation issue. But it didn't matter because it was in writing, and everyone looked at it as risk, and they had to delay the close. And these people had moved out of one house and were living out of a storage container, essentially, and a hotel stay. And they were supposed to move in on a Friday, but then it got pushed into the following week, several days later, because this issue came up. And so how do these issues get resolved? Well, number one, they can get resolved by doing the work ahead of time. And I know nobody wants to spend money, especially in this climate where their sellers are, holding a lot of the cards because the inventory is so low. But when we sell a house, these issues, which tend to be kind of non-issues for most people, can be huge issues for lenders and for the legal teams in this process. So it's really important that these issues are addressed ahead of time, so that these don't turn into one huge negotiating points for buyers, because generally, if it's $1,000 repair, it's going to be a $10,000 negotiating point, or it doesn't end up at the table in the last second, causing huge delays and disruptions. Family of 5, they had 3 young kids, and they were living in a hotel room for 5 extra days while still trying to get their stuff, carted from one place to the other. And in this particular case study in Clinton, we were able to just make the repair satisfy the conditions of the documentation, and they were able to close on the house. And the overall cost was about 20% of the cost that these parties incurred from the delay in the close. So simple things like this happen all the time, and it's not something to kind of brush off, because it does have real impact at the closing table. So if you see an issue in a house early on, or if it comes up in a home inspection, or if it comes up later in the appraisal, this is something that should be addressed early. Just getting an opinion as to whether it's a settling crack or not sometimes won't satisfy the banks or the legal team. So making sure that you actually do cross these things off your list is important, because one, it's people's lives, and two, it's a lot of money at stake. So we want to make sure that these house sales go through, and that the foundations are repaired in a manner that gives these people a long-standing life of the house and no issues moving forward as they take occupancy.